Welcome to the AM show on the Joy News channel. I'm Israelai and I host the show with
Enimado.
The Adorable.
The Adorable, yes, of course.
Okay, so this morning we want to revisit an earlier conversation we've had about SIM card re-registration and the queues being formed at some telco offices by mobile phone users trying very hard to get their SIM cards re-registered before the March deadline. One image that has been widely circulated shows many people congregating at a time when we're dealing with the pandemic. MTN, which has the largest number of subscribers, has announced measures to ease this congestion. But is there a better way to go about this? We'll try and get some ideas from some people in the technology space. We'll also discuss the strike
by the College of Education Teachers Association of Ghana and the Certified Registered Anesthetists, who have since 1st January withdrawn from anesthesia services. So we'll be doing that. Also be having a special memorial this morning.
Exactly. So for those of you who missed the memorial that was held for Elvis Kwashi, we're going to bring you a recap of it. So do stay tuned in. Plus, we have some other things that are coming up on the show. We just have to stay tuned. We have the news.
We have the news coming up next. And then, of course, we have sports, and then we'll get the news review. Yes, and then we'll get into newspapers. This is the AM show. Don't go anywhere. Good morning and welcome to the AM News. My name is Enimado. In our very first story, Joy News' investigation have uncovered how children are trafficked for 1,000 Ghana cedis to work on cocoa farms in the Western North region. One of the victims, Rashida, says her master started using her when she was 11 years old. She told investigative journalist Kwete Nate that she wishes to return to the classroom. Here are excerpts of our latest hotline documentary, Children in Cocoa Labor.
By Musa, she was in class 6 at a basic school in Cherepone. Working long hours is not new to Rashida. She says she has served 4 years already under her old master. She was just 11. She is now serving for 1,000 Ghana cedis, which will be paid to her parents. There is no intention of her master sending her to school. Another girl the investigative team came across is Memuna. She's serving 4 years for an amount of 1,200 Ghana cedis. She was also brought from Cherepone by the same Musa. When she isn't hawking on the streets of Eluokrom, she assists with weeding on the cocoa farms.
Now, it will air on Monday, 10th January at 8:30 a.m. on the Super Morning Show and 8:30 p.m. on the Joy News channel. Now, scores of newly admitted students at the University of Ghana are worried about their inability to secure accommodation spots. More than 15,000 students were offered admission this year into various undergraduate programs at the university with less than 3,000 available bed spaces. As the perennial struggle for accommodation sets in again, some students who have traveled long distances to the school say they may just have to quit altogether. Manuel Kranting visited the campus and now reports.
Long faces and outright despair. The most obvious expressions worn by the many frustrated students who, just like their mates from the year before and the ones before that, cannot find accommodation after gaining admission into the University of Ghana.
I was happy like when I had the admission to study at this university because it was my dream university. Yeah, everything was okay.
Daniel Elijah Chung is a newly admitted student at the university. Unlike anything he expected in his first few days in college, what was to be his dream school is gradually becoming his nemesis. He's only one of the many freshmen who are struggling to secure a spot in the limited residential facilities on campus.
The accommodation portal was opened exactly at 9 a.m. as yesterday morning. So I was online around 8:50 a.m. waiting for the portal to be open so that I can be fast about getting the accommodation. So by 9:02 a.m. I was on the website. Any hall I choose, there will be like there's no room available. So I was okay with it because I chose several rooms that I chose all the halls and then like I didn't get any room. So from that time I didn't know what to do. So I had to set off early from Winneba this morning around 6 a.m. to get here to fish out how things will be going concerning the accommodation.
He's been roaming the entire Legon campus for hours, dripping with sweat, and the brown envelope containing his application documents literally tearing apart. He's now thinking of abandoning his course altogether.
I've done whatever I could. I've been moving from halls to halls, floors to floors, but like no one. I've spoken a lot, so Mikra, I'm even tired. I'm even tired. I feel like I've gotten the school, but I've not gotten it. So now I'm stressed out. At times, like I want to say, I want to give up. Yeah, like I want to give up. I want to stay in the house and then come the following year rather.
But Daniel is not alone. He takes me to see his other colleagues who are in much the same situation, if not worse.
We were told that because of the modular system, all the people that were admitted 2020 and 2021 academic year were not permanent residents. We were just having our accommodation for just 1 year. So,
and then this year, hopefully, they said we all should apply for a residence. So I tried to apply, but I couldn't get a room. Yeah, so I have to go back to the old ways of going and coming, which is very costly.
But this frustration does not only stay with students. Their parents feel the pinch just as much. Antiama's daughter was not lucky with the online application. She is still yet to get a room, even after close to 8 hours of moving from one residential hall to the other.
Things are not well. They said the portal was to be opened at 9 a.m., but we tried and couldn't get access. Now they say the rooms are all taken, and we are coming all the way from Winneba. How is my daughter supposed to come to school all the way from Winneba to Legon every day?
And the story is same for thousands of other students and their parents. Indeed, most of them have had cause to explore off-campus options. Some of them are fortunate, and others not so much.
Outside campus, to try our luck whether we'll get a hostel. So we chanced on one kind of uncompleted building, but it has been, a little touch up on it, and it's quite okay. We saw some of the students there, so we also tried to go there and then make inquiries. So it's 2 in a room. Then 2,000 what? You said
620 cedis. Yeah. 620 cedis.
Semester. Can you imagine?
2,620 cedis for one person.
Yes.
Now, with each passing admission window, the accommodation crisis here at the University of Ghana only gets worse. But how many more Daniel Elijahs will be forced to abandon their entire university dreams owing to lack of space? Will this be the year that university management deals decisively with this problem? Yes, so maybe this could be our last time of reporting on this problem. For Joy News, my name is Manuel Cranting.
The opposition National Democratic Congress wants government to immediately withdraw its decision to reverse discount on benchmark values at the ports. Speaking at a news conference, National Communication Officer of the party, Sami Jemfi, said failure to do so will exacerbate the sufferings of Ghanaians who are already distraught. Kwekwa Sante has more in the following report.
The NDC says reversing the discounts on the import values will have adverse effects on Ghanaians who they say are suffering under the poor economic management of the Akufo-Addo-led government.
We in the NDC hold the view that this is not a time for more taxes and draconian revenue measures such as the reversal of benchmark value discounts. We share in the view espoused by GUTA and the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana that the GRA withdraws the statement announcing this measure, which will only go a long way to stifle the already burdened businesses in the country. And they must withdraw this immediately. We contend, ladies and gentlemen, that this is the time for the judicious and efficient use of taxes and the meager resources of states for the benefit of the Ghanaian people. It is not the time for more taxes and more draconian revenue measures. Enough of the wastage and ostentation being displayed by President Akufo-Addo and his government, only to turn around and impose on the Ghanaian people true killer measures such as the reversal of benchmark value discounts.
The party also claimed that government reversed the discount because it was cash-strapped and needed more revenue, and also to balance government's book to go on a borrowing spree.
We wish to make the point that this catastrophic decision has been occasioned by the self-inflicted economic malaise we presently find ourselves in, with our economy in tatters and government simply unable to find money to do anything.
Meanwhile, a pro-New Patriotic Party youth group in Tamale, purported to be supporters of Trade and Industry Minister Alan Trementing, are protesting what they call selective application of party rules and sanctions by leadership of the party governing the contest of elections. Leaders of the group say some high-ranking members of the party continue to violate the laid-down guidelines with impunity without any sanctions from the leadership. Northern Regional Correspondent Martina Bugui sends this report.
Addressing a press conference in Tamale, Secretary of the youth group, Shaibu Gafaru, said some high-ranking members of the party continue to violate the laid-down regulations with impunity without any sanction from the leadership of the party.
Sometime last year, the General Secretary of the party, Mr. John Boedu, announced rules and regulations to govern the conduct of will-be aspirants to various executive positions in the party. The rules and regulations were also to check the conduct of the supporters of such will-be aspirants, especially those aspiring to flag bearership of the party. Among the key directives were that no party official shall declare public support for any aspirant ahead of the official opinion of Nominations that no paraphernalia promoting or advertising any aspirant should be displayed publicly ahead of the opening of nominations. Since the announcement, a number of high-ranking members of the party have openly declared their support for the vice president, who, together with his supporters, have left nobody in doubt that he is interested in contesting the MPP flag bearership. Indeed, at the last National Delegates Conference of the party in Kumasi, no less a person than the vice president himself stood in flagrant breach of the aforementioned rules and regulations when he arrived at the conference grounds with supporters wearing his branded T-shirts and banners announcing his campaign for the flag bearership. Notable among these party officials are a deputy secretary of the party, Mr. Obiri Bwai, the Northern Regional Executive, led by Chairman Samba, the first Vice Regional Chairman of Ashanti, Mr. Kwabna Nsechere, the Member of Parliament for Karga, Honorable Amin Anta, the Member of Parliament for Tolong, Honorable Habib Idesu, and Honorable Farouk Mahama, MP for Yendi, and some others. These actions are clearly in violation of the party's rules, especially because of the bigotry associated with their declaration.
Mr. Gafaru said if it is okay for others to declare their support for the vice president, why are party members who support Alan Kojo Tremantin are being treated like criminals chased by the party?
The concerns we are raising today, ladies and gentlemen, are in respect of the fact that these and other regulations are not just being violated by some very high-ranking members of the party with impunity. Our major concern is that when some party members attempt to resist these violations of party rules, as happened in Savulugu during the constituency conference last year, the officers who try to defend the party's rules are rather victimized, ostensibly because they are known supporters of Honorable Alan Chamantin, the Trade and Industrial Minister, who is also widely known to be in contention for the party's 2024 flag bearer position.
He added that the MPP party is a democratic party that believes and upholds alternative views, tolerance, and choice based on free will.
MPP is a democratic party that believes in and upholds alternative views, tolerance, and choice based on free will. We will vehemently resist all attempts to suppress, victimize, and intimidate patrons who show support for Honorable Alan Chamantin. It is crystal clear the overwhelming masses of the MPP are poised and eagerly ready to give the mandate of this party to Honorable Alan Chamantin.
A philanthropic organization, 100K for Ghana, has started a project in Petoi in the Agotime Zirpe district of the Volta region aimed at economic emancipation. The group of Ghanaians living in the diaspora aim at outwitting the challenges Kente weavers face in the districts by connecting them with readily available markets. This 100K for Ghana believes would create jobs, promote growth of the local economy, and enhance the livelihoods of residents.
Agotime is the hub of Kente production in the Agotime district of the Volta region. Kente production, which is an age-old profession, contributes immensely to the economic growth of the traditional area. You are likely to see a structure used in producing Kente called in Ewe Asagba in almost every household. However, the weavers are faced with a series of challenges that affect their work output. It was for this reason that 100K for Ghana, a philanthropic organization financed by Ghanaians in the diaspora, is implementing a project to enhance Kente production. The organization would, among other things, provide a production hub, make available the necessary materials, and as well provide market channels. Enoch Entry is the Chief Executive Officer of 100K for Ghana.
We're building this center up gradually to give back to the people of Agotime and also introduce livable wages. And as you can see, my team behind me, we've come all the way from the UK, some of us from Canada, and some of us right here in Ghana into the Volta region to really show the progress of our hard work so far. So we continue to tell people who are watching this and also share this message to everyone so you can support 100K for Ghana, because we are thinking about development all across Ghana, particularly beginning in Volta region. Our primary objective is to help development and to help our people. And I urge and employ everyone who's Ghanaian or have an affinity to Ghana to support us in the way that we're developing Ghana. Thank you very much.
The corner of the Agotime traditional area lauded the initiative.
I think it's a very beautiful initiative, and it is here to bring development to the people of Agotime. So I stand on behalf of the chiefs and the traditional authorities to welcome them. We're going to partner with them to bring it to fruition. We know there are a lot of bottlenecks. We're going to help them to make it a very big platform.
The weavers are optimistic the intervention by 100K for Ghana would propel their kente businesses.
Oh, enye Georgina. La mile ji ho mele port. Ai Georgina be project yava. Ana mi ape do wa ga ingo. Ike ame ko le mi anche ani hosela sini. E do wa ga ingo a lododo cho te pu aga vaike avoir aga pongo gbe ile juko Agotime do aka kagere hihia mefeteme.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Petue.
All right, well, that's it for the AM news. But of course, the AM show continues, and we're getting into the newspapers right after this. Do stay tuned in.
All right, so good morning once again.
Yes, good morning once again. And you're still here on the AM show.
With myself and...
With myself. Do your kids do that to you? Sometimes repeat everything that you say.
No, they don't.
They're too grown now.
Yeah.
Did they ever do it?
No, they don't.
Okay, so I'm going to try and do it to you today then.
Why?
Off air, just because it's so annoying. And I love seeing that look, you know, when you kind of scrunch your face and you're like, oh, leave me alone.
Okay, let's get into the news.
Anyway, can I say hello to my friends? I mean, I'm just coming on now. Do you mind? Can you give us a minute? Okay, well, hello. If you're just tuning in, good morning, and welcome to the AM show with myself and Israel Lai, of course. Okay, now we can get into the newspapers.
All right, so on the front page...
But me, I want to talk about Nigel Gaze's TikTok video. You okay? You continue. Why? When you finish? When you are finished.
What about it? It's in the daily...
Is it Cartier or Carter or Eddie? What's the Eddie? Cartier.
But which brand is that actually?
I don't know. I was thinking it was maybe Cartier. Or maybe there is a cartel.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, Nigel Gaze hot over TikTok girl. And you know, it's interesting. This story actually started going around before, I think, New Year.
Okay.
But it kind of simmered down until the Umofia Chronicles. Then it's like, oh, die. So I don't know. But a video of a shirtless prophet, Nigel Gaze, in a suggestive posture with a TikTok lady has gone viral on social media. He says that that's his sister's daughter, right?
Yeah.
So if you've seen the video, it's an interesting video. For me, it could be anything. It's neither here nor there.
Really?
Yeah, so he says, funny people, ignore them. This girl is my blood sister's daughter. Wicked people. He wrote on Facebook. So, you know, it's two things. It could be whatever people think that it is, but it could also be a niece. And the reason I say that is, you know how troublesome the young generation, you know, of TikTok girls are, for example. They're always trying to get into one video or another. They're always trying to do something. There's actually so many other family videos where you see the younger, you know, girls in the family kind of just worrying their uncles or their dad to try and get them to do videos, you know, and stuff like that. I can relate in a certain way. It's like when my daughter is trying to get me to do videos with him. So we can't completely rule it out.
Okay.
You know, in the first place.
But in this case, the story goes on to talk about her, you know, controversial relationships with other women. mentions Miss Bell.
Miss Bell and all of them. So the first time Prophet Nigel has been in the news about association with a woman has become known as a controversial man of God, also because of his associations with women. But I really do feel like this is kind of like a clap back over the whole Umofia thing.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe Prophet Kofi Oduro will have something to say about it.
Okay, you may as well finish.
I may as well, right? Okay. Yeah. Other stories on the front page. 5 highway policemen interdicted. Power abuse claims. AG rubbishes Atuforsen. So the Office of the Attorney General has described as rather absurd and misleading claims by Member of Parliament for Ajumako Enyan Esian constituency, Dr. Castle Atuforsen, that the office is abusing its prosecutorial powers by putting him on trial. Okay, we talked about this 7% pay rise for public workers, also on the front page of the Daily Guide. Let's do a few international stories. President's palace on fire as state of emergency declared in Kazakhstan. Petition calling for Tony Blair to be stripped of knighthood reaches 670,000 signatures. Oh, I do miss seeing Tony Blair's face. So the former prime minister was made a knight companion of the most noble order of the Garter and the Queen's New Year's honours list. However, a petition started 3 days ago has said that he's the least deserving of any public honour due to his involvement in the Iraq war. Interesting. Well, I guess the voice of the people maybe is the voice of God or not. We'll see how that goes. Uproar as Macron vows to piss off unvaccinated. So French President Emmanuel Macron has been accused of using divisive, vulgar language after he used a slang term to say he wanted to make life difficult for unvaccinated people. He said, I really want to piss them off and will carry on doing this. I think that's a little bit sensational. We all know that, when you say something's pissing, you want to piss somebody off, you really just want to annoy them. So the point is get vaccinated, right? And then this wouldn't even be an issue. North Korea angers neighbors with new missile tests. North Korea is always doing something. Always. They're just doing the most. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just when you thought it was calming down. New coronavirus variant identified in France. Wow, I love that reaction.
Yes, we're yet to finish dealing with Omicron. And another one.
Well, just when we thought things were looking up at least a little because of the Omicron variant, even though it's more contagious, it's milder, a new variant has emerged. We don't know yet how dangerous it is or even where it originated. It was detected in early December in a traveler who returned to France from Cameroon, the hospital IHU Mediterranean, something in French. He's infected 12 people in southern France. So the new mutant called B1640.2 has 46 mutations in an atypical combination. Oh boy.
I know, right?
Okay, so it has something which is in its spike protein and possibly reduces the effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccines.
Oh, wow.
This new variant. So anyway, we'll keep our eyes on that. Yeah. Banana-made brew kills 11 in Rwanda. Okay, there are lots of interesting stories. Stay away from false prophets. The problem is how to know if they're false or not.
Yep.
Center spread Anthony Wood, Jasmine Barudi win big at 2021 Ghana Movie Awards. Robbers attack Nigerian actress. Energy Minister upbeat. Just a few more stories, Israel. I know I'm behaving like you when you're doing the Daily Graphic. Invest now.
It's normal if you're doing the first paper.
Yes.
Take a bit of time.
Okay. Is this you excusing yourself? Invest now, enjoy later. Musicians told Mentorex. Okay. Finally, Sierra Leone coach receives death threats. FIFA explains South Africa protest dismissal. AFCON stadia capacities limited due to COVID. Super Clash, Hearts Kotoko, confirmed for February 20. So this should be interesting. February 20. Okay, it's happening at the Accra Sports Stadium at 3 p.m. I'm definitely going to go and see this one. Yeah, okay. Are you going to come? You should come with us.
Okay, if you're inviting me, then yes I'm going to come along.
And maybe yourself and Louisa. You guys football stadium fans?
Nah.
No?
No,
Why?
not at all. Not at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, when I go to the stadium, I can't go way up, because I'm really scared of heights.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I kind of have to sit pretty low. But okay, February 20th shall be the day.
Oh, yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Yes, okay, cool.
Okay, let's go to the Daily Graphic. Base pay for public workers. That's on the front page of the Daily Graphic. And yeah, we know that they're going to get 7% instead of the 4%. And Boku chieftaincy clashes, accused persons denied bail. And that's one of the stories I'll be coming to. Let me see if I can actually go to that now. Yeah. So the Accra Circuit Court has refused to grant bail to the 12 accused persons arrested for their involvement in renewed chieftaincy clashes in Boku. In a ruling yesterday, the court presided over by Mr. Emmanuel Esando held that the Circuit Court did not have the jurisdiction to grant the accused persons bail. The presiding judge explained that the matter before him bordered on fundamental human rights, and as such, it was only the High Court which had jurisdiction to grant bail, and the names of the accused persons have been listed in the Daily Graphic. Okay, back to the front page. Constitution Day tomorrow. Build on gains, governance experts. So, as the country marks Constitution Day tomorrow, which is a holiday, right? 4 governance experts have underscored the need for the country to build on the gains of the 1992 Constitution. Constitution Day, a public holiday, has been set aside to mark the promulgation of the 1992 Constitution and the birth of the Fourth Republic. Okay, but yes, there's been talk already about the fact that we should be looking at reviewing the Constitution.
Yeah.
And,
we've actually talked about it at length.
Yeah.
You know, another thing about the Constitution that was very interesting. When this whole e-levy thing came up in Parliament, there was a lot of the NDC were using particular sections, the MP were using particular sections. And you realize that there are some areas that are a little...
Grey areas.
Yeah, but not necessarily even grey. But we haven't actually faced issues like that before, which have not really required the Constitution to be very clear. So it's subject to interpretation, room for ambiguity. So I think, you know, based on even that alone, I mean, it would be interesting to have that review. The Constitution and the standing orders in Parliament as well. Then we can stop this 175. Somebody had gone here, somebody had gone out, definitely can't do that again.
All right, and then some internationals. Niger mayor arrested over huge cocaine haul. So a Nigerian mayor and his driver have been arrested by the police for attempting to smuggle 214 kilos of cocaine to Libya. The Central Office of the Repression of Illicit Drug Trafficking said the drugs seized, as well as the arrested mayor and the driver and their vehicle, were presented to the press in Niamey. They had been transferred, where they had been transferred to yesterday. Okay. An SA president receives a report on corruption. And, there's this opinion piece I want to believe. It says, what if women dominate in parliament? So it goes till we get female-dominated parliament, a female-dominated parliament. Flexibility should be guiding principle to all male MPs when tempers are high in the chamber. Because I'm imagining if there's a brawl in parliament and it's between 2 women, or several women. Is it going to be worse than what we saw?
I mean, it'll be pulling off of wigs.
Oh, no!
Pulling off of eyelashes. Can you imagine? Cat money or here, like I know one time. About wig. Yeah, it will be, be something else. I don't know if women, there's a tendency for women to get physically, not to shout and stuff, but to get physically aggressive with each other, especially if it's not over a man.
Okay.
I don't really know.
They probably maybe end it with...
I think they'll probably really shout, maybe walk away.
Really terrible insults.
Insults, maybe cry, maybe, but I don't know about actual physical violence.
But I think as for the wig thing, it may just happen.
As for the wig, there for sure. Yeah. It's top 3. Wig off at once is like the first thing, So that'll be interesting.
Let's get to some others. So is Ghana ready for nuclear power plants? It's an opinion piece, and I say I think Ghana is ready. Like the world is moving towards that, and so it's something we need to
The world is
seriously
moving
concerned.
towards a lot of things that we're not moving towards.
We've exhausted all our base load when it comes to nuclear or power, actually. So we would have had an Akosombo Dam. We can't have another Akosombo Dam. And yet we need like a huge load of base load of electricity, and nuclear apparently looks like the main option, and so we should be looking at that seriously.
We'll see how that goes.
I know government's already working on it, so in time we're going to get to know where exactly we are. So moving on to the center spread, Ghana assumes UN Security Council seat. More people turn up for COVID-19 jab, which is good.
Well, yeah, because it's kind of getting to the point where if you don't have it, life is getting difficult. Remember that the beginning of this week, all the ministries and when you go, if you don't have your COVID-19, you can't get in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, and so they've also added the number crunch here. They say 8.8, so 8,827,253 people by January 3 this year. They have. So that's the number of doses that have been given.
Okay.
And it also goes on to say that about nearly 3 million people have been fully vaccinated. And then we have 6.6.
With one dose.
With one dose.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're making some headway. So people should go out there and just get the jab. Rescind decision on benchmark value, NDC urges, which was a story which was on the AM News. And then my goal is to break the 8. That's Stephen Asamoah Batting, who's gunning to become a chairman of the new Patriotic Party. He wants to be the national chairman. Benchmark value reversal on hold for 24 hours. So barely 2 days into the implementation of the reversal of the benchmark values on some 43 imported items, the Ghana Revenue Authority has deferred the implementation for a day. So they're just deferring implementation for a day, just a single day. It doesn't mean that it's been scrapped entirely. And the decision to defer it, it says, according to the GR, was to allow importers who got their duty bill before the initial implementation date of January 4, 2022 to pay and clear their goods. So, yeah, I'm sure they're going to come back with it. But there are calls. Yesterday on the show, we had the Ghana Union of Traders Association. They're saying that, well, they don't quite have a problem with it, but they think that government should look at maybe phasing it. So they could start with some items and decide that, okay, we're reversing
on these, as opposed to just the overall.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the.
Few, I don't pay or beto.
How Koforidua ushered in New Year. Congregants fill up churches. 30 newborn babies welcomed. And okay, let's get to a few more stories. Mechanization key to rice production. That's an expert saying. The policy advisor at the John A. Kufuor Foundation, Nana Ama Opondia, has expressed optimism that investing in agricultural mechanization will help the country to be self-sufficient in rice production. Says you need tractors, threshers, irrigation facilities. It's very easy to buy a tractor, but what really takes time is putting in place irrigation infrastructure and preparing the land so you can plant. A distribution of food to SHS is ongoing. Reverend John Intim Forjo, he's saying that the till suspend strike. So that's just a day after they actually started the strike. A brew craft village to boost income of local artisans. And MTN reviews data prices for broadband services. In sports, Ghana to host African Paralympic Games. And on the back page, Algeria punished Ghana 3-0 for costly errors. And GFA beefs up Black Stars technical team. That's it for the Daily Graphic.
Okay, I'm getting into the Ghanaian Times. Don't lose touch with grassroots. Kufuor advises NPP. Ghana, most peaceful in West Africa. President celebrates and urges Ghanaians to maintain it. I was talking to a group of friends. A lot of them don't live in Ghana. And they were saying that one of the reasons why Ghana is so peaceful is because we just love our wache and kinky and kuku. It's like, Ate Shilebi. We are going to look for what we are going to eat, our watch and relax. So now that we are coming to fight civil war, like we can't.
So we're more concerned about our watching.
Like we are just too, like life is just too chilled and
want to worry about.
Like we are now coming to fight over, you know. And I think that it's possible for a large majority of Ghanaians. Yeah, you know, we love living in Ghana. There's a certain peace, there's a system, you know how to work the system, you know, you're going at it and everything. But of course, we can't take for granted that we have seen an exhibit of the potential that we have to be violent.
That we could be.
Yeah, that we could be very violent. And so definitely we need to make sure that we maintain.
If you look at some of the chieftaincy clashes that have erupted in parts of the country, it just goes to tell you that,
and also when we have elections.
Yeah. Exactly.
And we get really passionate about that as well. But let's get passionate about keeping the peace, shall we? 43 killed, 202 injured in road crashes. SIM cards re-registration, hundreds besiege telco centers as deadline approaches so much. Can you believe I still don't have my Ghana card?
Why not? But this is a conversation we're going to be
having. We're going to have it, yeah. That's why.
How else can we go about it? There should be a better way to go about
COVID-19, why do we have to do it? Doesn't make sense.
Let the people converge in these places.
Telcos to re-register.
And you know, one of the questions I keep asking is, they're saying that the reason the people have to get to the telcos is because they want to verify that you, the person who connected, used the Ghana card to register, is the same person. Because anybody can take your Ghana card and go through the hashtag and the USSD and get to register or connect. But then how do we know? So the people should show up. So if the people are showing up, it should be a very simple, straightforward process that you show, this is my Ghana card, this is me, this is my number. Why can't you just walk away with it?
I get the whole cyber security, cyber fraud, But this whole thing, me personally, doesn't actually make sense to me.
It makes sense. I mean, if they want to ensure that if someone says, this is my phone number, it is actually that person who owns that phone number. Because then it's a lot easier to track these people, especially because of the fraud that takes place.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, apart from the cyber security and stuff, I struggle to get the point.
But that's enough reason why we should.
Well, it is, but I mean, I remember, having lived in the UK, for example, for many years, I never did this. You want T-Mobile or Leica Mobile or whatever, you know, you buy a SIM, you register it, you show your ID. As you're buying the SIM, you show your ID, and that's it. And whatever ID, whether it's your license, your passport, this is like a Ghana card-driven agenda. And it's very annoying because for some of us, even fine, I know that you are for Ghana card, so it's your thing. But for some of us, even at the point of the Ghana card, I'm like, why do we have to make everything so difficult? I have a Ghanaian passport. I have a driver's license. If you tighten the system and you stop corruption, you stop Goro boys, you stop all the ways that people can get these illegal things, then you don't have to question who I am when I come to you with a passport. If you're holding a British passport, nobody questions. Do you know what I mean? If you're holding an American passport, nobody's going to say, okay, you're holding an American passport, you have an American driver's license, but you still need an American national card to prove that you are who you are. And then now go in COVID-19 times to a telco to go and register your phone number. Like, why? We are like so many...
It's because they have been failing.
Oh, it's just...
They're believing that this is the way to, resolve.
Yeah, but we all know that this is not going to be resolved. We know that the March deadline, it is not going to happen.
There are those who are saying it's actually impossible to ensure to get everybody else registered before March.
And then what do you do if everybody is not registered? Are you just going to say, okay, you can't use your phone numbers? Okay, fine, we can't use our phone numbers. Already, we don't want to use our phone numbers because of the e-levy. So fine, so take the phone numbers, take your Momo or whatever, and just stop making life so difficult for us. Look at the number of people at the telco. Now, Sanoya Tajame, and now then try and register yourself. And I'm sure there'll be issues. They'll say there's, what is this? Connection. Yeah. We are having system errors. Light off. The receptionist is annoyed. She's tired. Her boyfriend has broken up with her. Somebody there is coughing. I mean, why? Like, can we not? Okay.
So there's a cartoon in the Daily Guide where SIM card re-registration, and this one says Osu yellow 4G. And in this case, the people are annoyed that some people come and use protocol to bypass the queues. So it says, we come early.
I love that you said the OC yellow 4G in a Ghana accent.
Really?
Yeah. You didn't notice, did you?
I didn't notice. We come early, form line, sleep 3 a.m. Others come 8 a.m. and enter door. And then there's another person says, everywhere you go, it be whom you know. And then, do you know that? So there are some people who are walking in and saying, do you know who we are? Anyway.
Look at, I haven't finished with the Ghanaian Times,
okay,
boss. Pop the line.
Okay, so this one is
Medina Zongo Junction. Look at the line. When we have 13,000 active COVID-19 cases, this is what we are doing. There's no other way to do this.
There should be a better way to do this.
The same people who thought of
if this thing, if it was being done, they had found a way of doing and getting rid of people in a much faster way. I don't think the lines would have been there like that. Because I'm saying the person should show up and say, this is my Ghana card. This is my number. And then once you're able to confirm, because that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take so long for the people.
No, it's because I don't know if I don't know the process. I don't know if you are writing.
Apparently you have to go and then they're going to take all your fingerprints.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you have to.
Didn't they do all the fingerprints for the voters' ID?
No, even for the Ghana card. They've already done it.
So why are you taking it again?
Exactly.
Oh.
Or if you're just using just one to verify. Once it's just one fingerprint, that should be fine.
The whole thing just doesn't.
Let's get to understand a bit more. We'll get into that later on in the show.
Okay, well, I'm done with the Ghanaian Times.
Okay, let's go to the Daily Dispatch. And McDonald Group's commercial private jet services takes off this month. Global Peace Index, Ghana is second in Africa. Mahama spent 20 billion cedis on education. I have spent 40 billion cedis on education.
Oh, well, good for you for spending more.
So President Nana Akufo-Addo has said he has spent twice as much on education compared to what his immediate predecessor pumped into the sector within their respective first four-year terms. So great has this government's commitment to education been. The public expenditure on education has almost doubled from 20 billion, 700 million cedis between 2013 and 2016. That is in the Mahama era, to 40 billion, 400 million cedis between 2017 and 2020. That is in the Akufo-Addo era, representing an increase of some 95%. Okay, so you're speaking in a speech, you delivered a speech at the 6th Quadrennial National Delegates Conference of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. So yes, 40 billion may have gone into the education, but I think it's about the results. So yes, you can pump so much into it, but what is there to show?
Ultimately.
For now, what we know is that's the free SHS. So people have got into secondary school for free. And that's what's costing us that much. But there are people who are saying, could that money have been spent in a better way? Because if there are people who can afford to pay, why do we have
Let
to
them
pay
pay and then pay for
which
those
is one of the
who
things
so it's a needs-based, finance minister said, yeah.
You know, so if he is thinking that way, I'm wondering why they didn't look at it that way.
Too much work?
Implementation.
Too much work, because you have to do needs-based assessments, don't you?
Well, all right, I'll step down as presiding bishop for Perez Chapel soon. That's Bishop Sorry saying that. And let's see which of the stories we have. How to get your word into UG, GIMPA, and GIJ. That's Eric's diary. Eric Mensah Ayete, who's an editor at MajorOnline.com. We'll be there somewhere on the Second Republic. There's an article here. Focus on Ghana's involvement in the Liberian War. It's also a feature. And U.S. Ambassador pays 2,852 cedis admission fee for lady after Facebook fundraiser. Okay, that's nice. So Ambassador Sullivan is pictured here with Mariama Mohammed, the fundraiser. Okay, that's good. Nice gesture. Back page, that's the story of the McDonald Group to employ 400 Ghanaians as its commercial private jet services takes off this month. Okay, that'll be it for me for the Daily Dispatch.
All right, well, that's it for the newspapers this morning. And we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, Muftal will be bringing us the sports. And then right after that, we'll dive into our telco conversation and get into all of that. And also, if you missed the memorial for the late Elvis Kokokwashi, we'll be bringing you a recap of that. So, good show coming up. Stay tuned in. Don't go anywhere.
Three days more and the African Cup of Nations will be here with us. We'll be hearing from Black Stars head coach Milovan Rajvac on what he makes of the Black Stars team he's currently got, comparing to the one he took to the 2010 edition where he reached the final and lost 1-0 to Egypt, courtesy of a goal from Mohamed Guido Nagy. And also, what was the biggest story in terms of athletics in the year 2021? Secretary General of the Ghana Athletics Association, Bawa Fuseni, has been speaking to us. He says one of the crucial things was ending their about 7 years impasse with Marta Bisa, and also Chelsea have taken control of the semi-final stage of the Carabao Cup after defeating Spurs by 2-0. Good morning, everyone. I am Muftar Nabila Ablai. This is AM Sports. Black Stars head coach Milovan Rajvac has noted that the players of 2010 and 2022 are quite different in terms of quality and mentality as he heads to his second tournament as coach of the national team. The Serbian led a young Black Stars team to the AFCON final in 2010, which many debutants, just as this current team, which has 7 players making their debut in the competition, but he knows a difference in the two sets of teams.
Je to bilo nezamislivo tako u tom trenutku jer glavni igrači iz Evrope nam nisu došli, ali smo imali znači ove druge igrače koji su se digli i koji su nam poslije pomogli u svjetskom prvenstvu da uradimo to što smo radili.
Yeah, but this situation, if you compare 2010 Angola and now, the situation is totally different. At that time, many players were not available due to many things, especially injuries, you know. So we picked other players, but at least we had 2 weeks to prepare. We had 2 weeks with a full squad to prepare the team to do all what is necessary before the competition. You know, since when you are working in the national team, when you play matches, you only have few training sessions. You don't have time to work. Finally, when you have an opportunity to work with the players for 2 weeks, this was taken, you know, from us. So that's why it's a different situation. But never mind, for everybody else it's the same. So we have to cope with this. We have to find the best solution in this situation, and I have full faith in these players, so we will do everything in our power for this short time to prepare well to start the competition the way we want and try to achieve the greatest result possible for us.
And now let's hear from Ghana International and a management committee member, Samuel Kufuor, who is optimistic Ghana can win the AFCON with a crop of players they have if they maintain them for the next edition. According to him, the Black Stars teams that reached 3 finals in the last 14 years was built for many years.
Just to direct the players in the progressing form so that maybe in future, 2026, 24, there's more opportunity for us to win if we keep the same group. That's my concern. We need to have the team
consistency.
Yes. That like you could see that from 2002, we built it up to 2006 when we first go to the World Cup. So I think it's the same process. If the FA has the capability to do that, how many players generate from under 20 that recently won the AFCON into this team? We can maybe 4 of them are in the team. Yeah. So it's a process. So I believe that this team has the places to go if we just being consistent, like I said, in terms of the call-up. That will be good.
You have watched the team train here in Doha, and if you are asked your impression about the team's training session, what will you say?
For me, the most important thing is the spirit in the camp is very high, and you can see there's a unity, there's a communication among the boys. Everybody is so happy to be here, and then I personally, what I'm seeing a positive side, and the positive side always brings glory to the nation. So let's go to the tournament, have a clear-minded focus, and then the players will do the best for the nation.
To some athletics now, and General Secretary of the Ghana Athletics Association, Baf Hussein, says ending their 7 years impasse with athlete Martha Bisa was one of the best moments of 2021. And he says the Ghana Athletics Association is committed to helping her succeed.
Joy and a huge burden that have been deviled the association for the past 6 years was finally lifted. And the association, Dodo always says that stand by the truth, no matter how long it takes, truth will always come out. And I just want to appreciate and thank Martha Bisa for coming out to do what she did. But I would have wished that she did that much, much earlier. Nonetheless, it has come, and we will support her. We try to open conversation with her, see how we can support her for Ghana 2023 the African game. She has to run in that competition. So we are trying very hard to support her to be able to qualify. Now that in that association we don't have automatic athletes going for the national team, everybody has to qualify. So we'll support her to qualify, And what surprises me was people threatening for her not to apologize, not that they will sue her. It's strange, isn't it? I mean, it's strange that the same people that were preventing her from doing the right thing are not asking her to do the exact thing that they were preventing her from doing. Is that not ironic? So she should rather apologize to them, but she didn't apologize. She shouldn't apologize to others. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why should she apologize? I'm not saying that I'm not supporting her, I'm not supporting any side. But what I'm saying is that a person must be principled. If you were asking her not to apologize to the authority, why are you asking her to apologize to you?
That is your sport on the AM show with me, Muftar Ablaba. You can head on to my joyonline.com and read some more sports stories. It appears the impasse between Ghana and South Africa is not over yet, as the South African Football Association say FIFA did not even go through their protest filed somewhere in November before rejecting their decision or dismissing their decision, describing it as inadmissible. And they are considering the other legal procedures that they will take to fight it. Their argument is that they filed a protest in relation to the performance of the referee, and the claims that they did not go through the proper procedural rules, which demands that they should have written officially to the match commissioner and not complained verbally, is a non-starter. We appreciate your company here on the AM Sports with me, Muftar Abdullah.
Right, so this morning we want to revisit an earlier conversation we've had about SIM card re-registration and the queues being formed at the telcos. We have front pages of the newspapers capturing that. We have the Ghanaian Times. Hundreds besiege telco centers as deadline approaches in March. So it's been a concern, especially because we're in a time of a pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, where we are not supposed to be converging in those tight enclosures as much as possible. We're talking about social distance. It's safer to be away from some of these centers. So is there, the question I'm asking, and I keep asking, is there a way to get this thing done in a much safer, or it's a much safer way to get this thing done, so it won't have people, hundreds of people converging as we've seen, at telco offices. And they're saying that they're trying very hard to get their SIM cards re-registered before the March deadline. So there's one image that's been widely circulated, and it shows many people congregating at a time when we're dealing with the pandemic. So there's one on the front page of the Times, but there's another one that's circulating on social media. MTN, which has the largest number of subscribers, had announced measures to ease this congestion. So they posted it on their Twitter account, and it says, kindly be informed, the same registration exercise is taking place at the following centers: MTN branches, Connect stores, distributor branches, light retail stores, volume management, and then MTN retail centers and agent touchpoints across the country. We encourage customers to visit any of these MTN touchpoints to reduce congestion at the MTN service centers. Remember to take your Ghana card and GPS code for a smooth registration at any of these centers. So this is the way MTN feels that it can ease the congestion. So people shouldn't just congregate at their service centers, their other touch points, as they're indicating. But is there a better way to go about this? We'll try and get some ideas from some people in the technology space. We're trying to get Kobe Spike, who's a host of Geek Squad. He'll be joining us for that conversation in a bit. We'll also discuss a strike by the College of Education Teachers Association of Ghana and the certified registered anesthetists who have since 1st January withdrawn their anesthesia services. But let's get to this first conversation, which has to do with the SIM re-registration. I want to know from you, what is the experience like? So if you've gone to re-register your SIM, what has been the experience? And if you've been trying to do that, there are people who say they've been trying to do this for days. I want to know what the process is like, because I haven't done mine. When you get to the place, what are they expecting of you? What are the processes you go through? And why is the process taking so long? Tell us about it. And then for those of you who have been waiting for days to get to re-register, we also want to know about that. So we're opening the phone lines. You can call it 030. The numbers are on your screen: 030-221-1691 or 2. 030-221-1691 or 2. So you share with us what your experience has been like in trying to get your SIM cards registered before the March deadline. And yes, we want to understand what it has been. It has been like. But we already have Spiky in Kruma. He's joined us. So Spiky, good morning to you and a happy new year. I would want to get to understand from you, Spiky, what do you understand of this process? Have you been through it? And why is it taking so long for people to get to do that?
So personally, I haven't gone through it. I haven't done so because it seems to me like it's too much of a stressful process, which is why I haven't gone ahead to do it. Also, it's taken long because there's a lot of SIM cards to be registered.
Okay.
We're talking millions, possibly excess of 40 million SIM cards. Now, if you do the math, let's divide, say, each area where you have, let's say, the people who are going to do registration and the stations or the telco offices. I don't think that you have enough to cover that 40 million within the stipulated time that has been given. It would possibly take almost a year or maybe more than a year to register all the 40 million cards in a day. I mean,
yeah.
Take into consideration the whole
Spiky, now that you've brought it up, I'm beginning to, liken this to we trying to do voter registration. And the voter registration numbers are a lot less. And I'm sure the process probably wouldn't be, and with the voter registration, we have a lot more centers. Now, so I'll come to that. I'll come to you again for us to get to understand why this process can become really laborious. But we have some people on joining us now. Fatal is calling from Tamale. Probably Fatal, hopefully Fatal has been through that experience. Hello, Fatal. Hello, Fatal.
Can you hear me?
Yes. So, Fatal, have you been through the process? What has been the experience like for you?
Not yet. I was passing by the MTN. I'm a client to MTN and Vodafone network. So I went there and the line was. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Fatal.
So I went to MTN office yesterday, the day before yesterday. The queue was so huge that I was not being able to go through the process. So I went back home, and then today I'm trying to see whether if I can go.
Okay.
But for me, what I want to tell to the authorities is that they should make it like decentralize it to various places. Maybe give it to young agents, those who are doing mobile money, so that it will be accessible to everybody. And they should also try to extend the date.
Right.
They should try to extend the date of the to March,
deadline.
Maybe.
Yeah. So the deadline is March, but you're saying that they should extend it. And it looks like they probably will just have to extend it. Thank you very much for time. Let's go to Thomas, who's calling from Elembele. Hello, Thomas.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Have you been through the experience?
Yes, I have not. But the MTN network is too bad over here. I've tried to do the first registration. That is when we got the 404 hash and continue. So I have completed with the first registration.
Okay.
But I have misplaced my NHI card.
No, you're supposed to go with a Ghana card.
Yes, but I have the copy. I have the photocopy of the Ghana card. So I use that number to do the first registration. That's where you dial the 404 something.
Yes.
But when I visited the district office of the NHIE.
No, you mean NIA.
NIA, sorry. I was told to go to Accra for the replacement of the lost card.
It doesn't have to be. When was that? When did you go to the office and they told you to come to Accra?
Oh, just last month. I went to Mikrofo and I was told that over there they don't do replacement. So I have to go to Accra for the replacement.
Okay.
Now, I'm imagining something. How can I travel from my United to Accra?
No. That's unreasonable. That's unreasonable.
Yes.
Probably
That's
the regional.
why I want you to know. How can I travel from my United in the Western region, Alabama district, to Accra to go a queue?
Okay, Thomas, hold on. I'll try and get some answer for you before we end the show. So do stay tuned in, okay? I'm going to speak with someone at the NIA and try and get an answer for you, because it's unreasonable for anyone to be asked to move all the way from Elembele to Accra to come in queue and get, just because you want to replace your card. Let's go to Wisdom, who's calling from Zualugu. Hello, Wisdom. Hello, Wisdom.
Hello.
Yes. Good morning
Hello.
to you. Have you re-registered your SIM at the telco?
I've not been successful. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
You've not been successful?
I've not been successful because I've gone there more than 5 times. The queues there are too much.
Okay. So you go, you see the queue, and then you return. You don't want to stay to endure at all.
Yeah, because I went there earlier when they first announced it. But when I go to Vodafone, for example, they told me they had taken the machines back.
Which machine?
The machines, the verification machines that the government has told them not to continue with the registration. That was much earlier when they announced it.
All right.
So later on, when they gave them the green light to continue with the registration, I went back there, but the queue started building up.
All right.
One of the days I went and the machine wasn't able to pick up my Ghana card. So they told me to come back in 2 weeks.
Oh, so at one point you got almost close to it. I mean, you got to that point where you could register, but it didn't happen.
So they told me to come in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I haven't been able to register since then because of the queue.
All right. All right. Thelma, thank you very much, Wisdom. Let's go to Theo, who's calling from Kwewu. Hello, Theo. Hello, Theo. Do you have Theo on the line, or would I have to move on to someone?
Yeah, this is Theo, please.
All right, Theo. Okay. So
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. What has the experience been like?
Right. Yeah, right. Yes, calling from Dongokrom.
Okay.
Dongokrom is one of the supposed islands with over hundreds of villages all over. You have to cross some of the rivers. There's only one station.
All right.
Or one MTN place where you can go and do the registration. So every week they have queues over there. Can I suggest that they deploy some of their workers to other places in the district, Kowa Prince North District?
All right.
Or even in the capital, you have about 4 or 5 places where people, when they come, they can only come here on market days. You can't come on ordinary day because you won't get vehicle to come down. So I'm suggesting if they can open other spots, even at Dongokron, so that they can get access to it. Because at this assembly, I believe they can help to provide a place for those type of things.
All right.
Sir.
All right. I'm sure they're listening and they'll take a cue from it. Let's go to David from Kumasi. Hello, David.
Yeah, hello, please. Good morning.
Good morning. Have you been able to re-register?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I want to hear about your experience. What was it like for you?
Oh, my own was very simple for me. I just got the code that they gave out. That was the *404 hash.
Yes.
I got my unique code.
Yes.
So later on, then traveled to Accra to visit my brother-in-law. So he was part of the registration team. So he did my own for me.
Hold on. So you got protocol?
Yes.
You were one of those who didn't join the queue?
Yes. But later on, when I came back to Kumasi, my mother, I did the same thing for my mom, and she went to register. But when she got there, they said the Ghana card, she's having problem with the Ghana card.
Okay.
And I said, what? So I called my brother-in-law and I asked, and he said that he had been facing that challenge. So you should go back to the NIA office and you verify the card issue for them.
Okay. So, but David, I want to understand what the experience was like when your brother-in-law did it for you. What did he have to do, or what did you have to do?
Okay. They gave them a smartphone. So he was using a smartphone to do the registration.
All right.
You first take your digital address, that's the GPS address.
Yes.
Then you will do the fingerprint. After that, he will use the phone to scan your Ghana card. Then it will be verified from the NIA office.
All right.
So that your picture and everything will appear on the phone before you proceed, and you accept it. So you send a message that you have been successfully registered.
Okay. So after he's verified your Ghana card, so you're saying he's going to use his phone, a smartphone, to scan your Ghana card, and your details will appear on the phone, your photo and everything else. It is at that point that he will proceed. So at that point, then you have to what? Use your fingerprints.
Yes, no, he will use the camera, the phone's camera, then he will snap it. And then after snapping it, they have a process, so it will scan it automatically.
Okay.
Yes, that's how I
don't you put your fingerprints? Don't you get your fingerprints verified?
Yes. He will use the phone to snap it. They have the app on their phones, so use the phone to snap it. After that, it will verify your fingerprints.
How do you verify your fingerprints?
He uses a mobile phone to snap it, like taking a normal photo, picture.
No, so he takes a photo of your fingerprints?
Yes.
Okay. No, that should be pretty easy for everybody to do. I mean, for a lot more centers to do. Okay, but thank you very much, David. You've brought a lot of insights into this this exercise and the way they go about it. Thank you very much. We have Mohammed. Mohammed has been waiting on the line for a while. Mohammed from Wenchi. Are you still on, Mohammed?
Yes.
All right. So
Good morning. Good morning, please.
Good morning.
Yeah, I went to the registration center for more than 3 times in Wenchi.
All right.
Whenever I went there, the machine didn't pick my details on the ID card, sorry, on the NIE card. So they told me to go to the NIE office for registration. When I went there to, the officer there told me that there is no problem with the card. But I went there several times, so I couldn't register. So I just came home.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Mohammed. So Mohammed called us from Wenchi. Let me come back to you, Spiky. Okay. So you've come to understand at least the process. So it's not like you have, biometric capture machines, but essentially they are using a phone to take a photograph of your fingerprints, your fingers, and that's it. That should be pretty easy to deploy in a whole lot, in many more centers, right?
I think it should be pretty easy to deploy everywhere. That means that you just need to get good smartphones that have very good camera that can, basically see the prints on your finger and capture them. But then my question is, what happens if the person has a motor disability and they can't keep their hands still? Some people can't keep their hands still. And in that case, you need specialized equipment where they just have to put their hands on the device. Again, I'll also ask, what happens to a double amputee? How do you capture that person's fingerprint? So there has to be many other ways of doing this verification.
Yeah.
And prior to this conversation, we're talking about facial recognition or iris scanning. All these could have been ways to verify this. But then I think knowing that it's working with an app makes it even easier, which means that you can actually even have people go around just the same way we did with the census. All they have to do is just go from house to house and do the registration.
Otherwise, they could also do it themselves.
Well, they could also do it themselves if you have a smartphone. So a smartphone with a good enough camera, install an app. I mean, it's just an app. Just get people to install the app. Yeah, they could say people would try to beat the system. But if I've already registered my fingerprints with the NIA database and I try to register someone else's fingerprints, definitely will not match. And then I'll be at my cost. So I think, yes, if there's an app, rolling it out for everyone to be able to install and just take your phone, take pictures of your fingers to cross-reference against the NIA database would be perfect. I don't see how that should be a problem.
In fact, at some point, I thought I heard the communications minister indicate that they were going to introduce an app so that people wouldn't have to go and converge at the telcos. I haven't heard anything yet since. Have you?
No, not from me either. I think something like that, you'd have people doing it for their moms and their dads in the house. It would make the process much easier.
All right. And talking about, you made reference to double amputees and how the process can work for them. But there's also Farida Bedre who posted on Facebook. She had an experience there. It took them so long. It took her so long to get to register. I'm actually going to get the producers to look for that post and then we can share it with our viewers and the experience that she had to go through. But yes, these are experiences that people are going through. And Spiky, I'm sure if we gave you enough time, you can come up with some ideas as to how else we could do this. But it looks like we have one other person who's joining us for this conversation, a very popular face on Geek Squad, Desmond Israel. He's joined us. Hello, Desmond.
Hi, Israel.
Okay, great. Good morning and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too. How are you doing?
I'm well. So I understand that you understand this process a whole lot better than many of us. So I want to understand the process that we're going through, the process we're using to re-register the people. So I'm learning from one of the people who called into the show that when you get to the telcos, they're essentially using a smartphone for this exercise. Is that the case?
Yes, that's the case. Actually, I think it's even public knowledge, because if you go back to the NCA's website and try to follow the process that they have published, they are in 2 stages. You're doing the USSD, which you and I know already,
yes.
In the comfort of your home.
Yeah.
And then you had to get to the telco site where they are using what they call a SIM registration app. So essentially a web application which has a mobile front, so a mobile app with a web application at the back, sort of. And then, of course, it will hit a database because you need to collect the information. So when you get to the telcos, you present the number which they use to verify if you are the same person because of the initial USSD information. And then from there, they try to then pick up the other information that they need, i.e. the biometrics, which we are all talking about.
Why do you get the impression it takes so long for this to be done? Because if we're looking at the queues that are showing up, it probably is because it takes. Do you know? Do you have an idea how long it takes for one person to register, for instance?
Okay, so again, the NCA states that it should take us 4 minutes. Worst case, 4 minutes for the SIM registration to be complete. But from what I have gathered, it's actually taking more than that. And there's been other public posts, a few people that I spoke to who have even blamed the application itself. I mean, they are the ones using it, and they are the ones saying it, that the application freezes, it takes them time to even get it refreshed and get people registered. So people are spending more time than is actually estimated by the professionals. We're doing more than 4 minutes at post trying to get a simple registration done, which is where I personally have some of these problems with us and how we have designed these whole systems from the scratch. You know, because in my own view, sorry.
Yeah, so Spiky and I have been discussing, trying to figure out how best to go about this. So you share whatever ideas that you have with us.
Okay, so since we are dealing with, biometric data, and that's the reason why we have a stage 2, that we have to go to the telcos and get it done through a SIM registration application. And that's where my problem is. I find it a bottleneck in the sense that if you have already taken the information, which is the Ghana card, and the LI which is governing this registration is saying that the Ghana card is the central identity document that is required. The Ghana card and this database host almost every single information you need for this registration, save probably for the phone number that I'm trying to register. So the issue is, what happens to the biometric database? Or probably a distributed biometric database, which allows these SIM registration application or SIM registration platform to integrate to the NIA and get the necessary verifications done. I mean, it would cut down the sort of queues that we are seeing, the sort of chaos that we are seeing merely for just going in there to verify your biometric. And I don't even get it as a biometric registration. And I may be technically right, because the information out there, even from the NCA's own website, captures it as a bio capture. Okay. And I've seen a few people made posts on Facebook and mentioned that probably we're just making a fuss out of this. And that if I were going for my visa, my information will be captured again. If I were to be traveling at the airport, my information will be captured again. This is done not oblivious of the fact that there is probably an immigration management system there if it's at the airport. There is the passport database if you're dealing with a passport renewal. And equally, the same IMS would be working if you're dealing at the visa side. So the gadgets you see before you at those places are actually verifying information which is already in the database. And guess what? It takes you less than nothing to get this information verified. That is entirely different from when you seek to capture the information all over again. You see? And you are doing it through a different application. You are doing it through a SIM registration application. It brings us back to the issue of data silos. where exactly we are running away from. We are trying to avoid multiple data sitting with different institutions, becoming bureaucratic, even if you want access to it. Speak to the fintechs about how difficult it is to them to get access to verifying IDs. Up until the services of EKYC, I don't want to mention brand names, but the EKYC service that came in from some of the service providers, which is probably making things easier for the telcos, for the fintechs to now be able to kind of like verify the IDs that we have. So we cannot seek to provide, a comprehensive centralized database, which is what has been touted to all of us from day one up to this point, for somebody to tell me that I need to go to a telco for my data to be captured onto a SIM registration application. Why the hell did we pay so much money to set up those systems in the first place? You need to do the system design such that it is linked to every other thing. Look, SNIT is doing something similar like the SIM registration. SNIT is asking us to come back to get all the information linked to our Ghana card. And look, we know where this is going. It is for us to be able to get an EID, a mobile ID. And if I take you there, I can clearly tell you that people have done it. Estonia is a best case scenario. And I know the authorities in charge have visited Estonia to look at the best case and to see how these things work. This is not how it is done.
Okay.
You see, let's do. So I was wrapping up that let's deal with the issues as is technically required, as against what we seek to be expediency, because that has been our problem when it comes to implementing technology. And I can name many of the things we've done, even under the current government, which still have bottlenecks because we fail to listen to the basic information that goes into system design. And that is why we are where we are.
Okay, put it simply, Israel, how do you want this, or how do you suggest we go about this?
It might be a little too late. It might be a little too late, because we need to sync to the NIA database. Now, this NIA database, I've also made comments about it in public when the registration started. How do we guarantee the integrity of the information or the data on the NIA database? I can't recall exactly where, but I remember when we were receiving responses, one response was that if people provided the wrong information, the law makes room for them to be penalized. I agree, I'm a lawyer, but that is not how you build systems. You build systems to evaluate themselves first. The system must grant its own integrity, and that is where my suspicion is. You are trying to get another silo of information to sort of like verify what you have collected already. I may be wrong, but that is exactly where we are leading ourselves, which is not going to make us to, be able to jump on this thing at the right time. Like I said, it may be a little too late, but the ideal situation should have been that from the implementation of NIA database, we should have envisaged all these other additional, registration or card syncing process that we are going to do and build the system to be able to do that. Because my argument is because of open APIs, biometric data can equally be called by APIs, okay? And if we build our systems properly, we would be able to have created that sync across. So if it's the SNIT that needs it, they are hooked to it. If it is the passport office that needs us to do this same process, they would have been hooked to it. And if the telcos, they would have been hooked to it.
All right.
For us to want to pick information on the telco side, when we've already picked up the same information on the NIA side, is problematic.
Okay.
And I don't know who else is going to convince me otherwise.
All right, please hold on, Kobe, Spiky, and Desmond Israel. I have Farida Bedre. I was referring to a post earlier, but we actually have her on the line right now. But we'll start with her post. So she put it up and says, today I went to do my SIM registration at Vodafone. It was relatively smooth sailing. The queue wasn't that long and the staff were helpful. The only hitch came when I had to do the fingerprint. They are using an app which takes a picture of all your fingers at once. This means you have to keep your hand still and your fingers outstretched. Easy, right? Not when you have a motor disability. After many attempts, we were finally able to get the right hand, but we gave up on the left hand because I couldn't straighten my fingers long enough for the app to capture the print on their tips. So I asked what happens in the case of a double hand amputee. As you have guessed, no provisions have been made for such cases. We can do better as a country when it comes to disability issues. Farida has joined me on the line. Farida, thank you for making time to speak with us, but you're actually a software engineer, and so you understand this space quite well. What we're looking at this morning is better ways of dealing or resolving the challenges that we're experiencing now. Do you have any ideas to share with us?
Yeah, thanks. So for me, in the first place, I don't see why we have to go through the biometric registration again, because we did it to the NIA card.
Yeah.
We were doing the initial registration. I mean, it's as if we are duplicating data. And the last thing that we need when we are building a centralized ID is to have duplicate data. It doesn't make sense. Second, hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Farida. Yeah, Farida, we can hear you.
So somebody has called me. Hello?
No, come again.
Hello?
Yeah, Farida, we can hear you.
Yeah. So that is my first issue with the whole process. So I mean, it should have been a simple online, like the first step where you can do it via the USS code. I mean, that should have been enough. And if they want further verification, all they should have done is they are taking a picture to ensure that you are really the one who is using the card. I mean, that the card actually belongs to you.
Okay.
That should have been enough.
But
now,
Farida,
now with regards to the biometric part of it, with regards to people with mobility challenges, as well as those without hands. I mean, there's the optical recognition. I mean, biometric. It can also be used for those who cannot keep their hands straight.
Yes.
Or who do not even have hands. And apparently that is even more unique than the fingerprints these days. I mean, what happens to those who have had acid spots on their hands and their fingerprints are no longer recognizable? I mean, this thing should have had a larger stakeholder engagement. They should have involved the various disability groups in some of these things. Disability groups are never involved in most of these things. The only one that I have seen that they have involved them is the electoral process, because at least when you are going to do the voting, there are special facilities available for people with disabilities, so that you don't join the queue or anything.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, somebody with a disability actually went to the MCS and to branch to register the scheme. And so treated so shabby by them. I mean, he has several policies that he was made to stand in the queue for over 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And furthermore, when he asked the manager whether there are no facilities for him, I mean, at least let him don't skip the queue or something. The manager told him that even his own brother, that when he came there to register, he had to join the queue, so he also joined the queue. And I'm like, this is not on at all. I mean, the person has a special talent.
I agree with you.
We can do better as a country.
We certainly can do better. I mean, I would expect that some of these managers or the people who are handling these operations will be a lot more considerate. Because if there's someone who has special needs, that person needs some special care. But thank you very much, Farida, for sharing your insights with us. And we're hoping that the authorities are listening and would want to take a cue from it, especially the bit about consultation. Because if we had done enough consultation, would have come up with a lot more ways, as Desmond was suggesting. So Desmond, you heard Farida. She's essentially made some points about people, double amputees and people like her with motor disability. But one other group that we've left out are the aged, the people who are so old and frail. Do we expect these people to be moved out of their homes to, these places just to re-register? That's why we need to have this conversation about other ways of doing this, that will, take into consideration the people who can't be that mobile and some people who also have some peculiar challenges. Kobe, I'd want to come to you. Let's wrap up this conversation with an appeal to authorities to want to do things differently. You'd have to unmute, Kobe.
Yeah, I believe Desmond said a lot of things that we need to consider. This whole duplicates of databases, it's really not taking us anywhere. And for me, it's actually the safety of the data. If you're collecting my data, it's a private institution. Yes, granted, they've been working in this country for so long, but what's to say that our data is actually secure with them? What's the accountability? Is the Data Protection Commission holding them accountable? Are they observing some of the requirements to keeping data? Because biometric data is very, very, very personal. If someone has access to that, there's a lot they can do with it. So what's the security? And the fact that basically just as an app they're using to capture it, what's the security on that device if someone could break in? I know Desmond is a cybersecurity expert and he could speak more to that. If someone got into that database and grabbed all that biometric data, we'd be in serious trouble, because the same data people use elsewhere, immigration service and banking services outside the country, everywhere. So if we are sure that we're giving this permission to these companies to capture this data, are we sure that that data is also being protected rightly? And I mean, if we can't get that assurance, can we just stick to one database and just make sure that it's just a verification process? You're matching it to that existing database, and then we're done.
All right. Spikey, are you comfortable with NIA taking your database or keeping your database and keeping it safe?
Well, I have to be comfortable because it's for the country. I mean, it's gone through various levels of scrutiny. So without, I'm not going to say I'm 100% comfortable, because I'm not comfortable with any system that captures my data. But then again, I have to do it because it's required. If I had my own way, I'd be a nomad and nobody would know where I am. But unfortunately, I can't be that. So.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, I can understand these, you technology people, you know so much that you can't sleep still because you're wondering. You're looking at the many possibilities of your data being compromised. Desmond, so I'd ask you as well, how comfortable are you with the NIA handling your data as opposed to the telcos?
I started with the laughter, forgive me. All right. So for starters, by the nature of the work that I do and 15 years in active practice as an ethical hacker, I do not trust any system. Systems are as good as the people who put them up, and they are as secured as the skill of the attacker. So what A couldn't break, B could break it, depending on how much they know about how that system works. So, but then moving forward, I also think that is a question we need to address such that we don't create panic amongst the public. First of all, the NIA is an established authority to take that data. So for starters, by law, you need to give them that credence. It's like saying you don't want the police to be your crime fighter. Who is going to be?
Yeah,
exactly. So we need to give credence to that and accept that this is the lawful authority, even under the data protection laws, that can take this information. And for starters, we would be comfortable with that information that is being taken by that authority or that body. Having said that, we will still have to be worried concerning two things. One, whether we are still going to go ahead with what we keep preaching about centralized database. I don't think it's rhetoric. Centralized databases are done systematically, and you have to put in a lot of effort. if you are in a hurry to pick up all the information that you need, then you should also be in a hurry to put in the necessary measures to make sure that you are able to achieve that. It is not enough for us to start one system, jump off to the other, and then want everybody to believe that, oh, okay, all is well. All is not well. You know, you can read in between the lines when you see, if it's your technical field, if it's your area of expertise, and you see flaws, you can read in between the lines that flaws do exist. And no amount of talking can wash that away. Finally, the issue about security, which Spikey touched on a bit, we have to be sure that we are also putting in the necessary security that comes with these platforms. I will not mention names, but I have done disclosure to about 2 companies, including a telco, where, you know, we had an issue with some sort of data leakage along the line, you know, and this was some 2 or 3 years back. And in fact, this year I'm doing an incident response to a platform that has been compromised with subscribers' IDs that are out there. So it is not something that you want to wish away. No, it's inevitable. It lives with us. We need to prepare for it. We need to be sure that we have the necessary controls in place to make sure that, I mean, the citizens are protected. You don't want to play with biometric data, and I agree absolutely with Spikey on that level.
All right, thank you to you both, Desmond Israel, who's a cybersecurity consultant, he's a lawyer as well, and then Kobe Spike Nkrumah, who's a host of Geek Squad on Joy 99.7 FM. I appreciate your contribution and insights, and I'm hoping that the authorities are listening, and we'll do something with all that you've shared with them, and so that at the end of the day, we're going to have a much smoother SIM re-registration process, but at the rate at which it is going. Oh, and Farida is also on the line. Thank you very much. Farida, I actually want to ask if you'd want to have any concluding thoughts before I wrap up.
So I agree with that. I mean, we need to, for me, it's more of a trade-off. With regard to your question about us being comfortable about the NIA keeping our data. For a long time, we haven't had any way of verifying somebody. I'm not sure we'll be using voter's ID. And can only use voter's ID for people who have actually registered to vote. So if the person hasn't registered to vote, then you have no way of tracking the person. So I was very happy when the NIA came up and they said that they are going to register all Ghanaians. I mean, it's long overdue and necessary. And because we need to be able to track people. We need to be able to know when somebody has gone for a loan from several institutions and is not paying back and all those things. Because before, those of us who were in the fintech company, who were in the fintech business, building systems for financial institutions, we used to use their mobile number to track them, because that was the only unique identifier that we actually had. But even that one was subject to them deciding whether they wanted to use the same phone number or not. So fine. But then as my colleagues have said, it all comes down to how secure our data, whether somebody will not decide to start and make money and all those. But then we have to put some trust and faith in the institutions that was set up by the government, and hope that they have made all the right they have put in all the structures to ensure that such incidents do not happen. But then my question is, so next time we are going to vote, are we going to vote with our NIA card, or we are going to vote with our voter's card? And in that case, will people who don't have voter's cards have to go and re-register, for voter's cards, or what? I mean, what is the way forward?
All right. It's a very good question, Farida. And my understanding is that, yes, once we have the Ghana cards, we don't have to go and re-register. Probably, at worst, what we could do is to just show up with our Ghana cards, and then the data on the Ghana card is going to be used to compile a register without having to, put up your fingerprint again for it to be captured. But well, if we're going through this process now where people are going to the telcos to have their fingers captured again, you never know. It probably may mean that the Electoral Commission may also have to do that. But we haven't gotten to that yet. But yes, it's good to start a conversation and ask questions about it. So thank you very much, Farida, and to you, Desmond, and you, Spiky, as well, for joining us for the conversation. We're taking a break here on the AM show. We have yet another conversation coming up, which has to do with the strike by the anesthetists. So do stay tuned in. We'll be back with you in a bit. All right, so you're welcome back to the AM show, and we're going to have this conversation about the anesthetists taking or embarking on a strike. We'll get into that shortly, but I have some feedback from Thomas, who called earlier from Elembele, and he was saying that he had been told that he had to come all the way to Accra, the headquarters of the National Identification Authority, to have a replacement of his card. Apparently, that is actually true. But so I was trying to understand why people are having to come all the way from Accra, from the districts and regional offices to come to Accra to do this. And they were explaining that they have a schedule for what can be done at the districts and regional offices, which includes the replacement of cards. The replacement of cards or the districts and regional offices have not been set up yet to do the replacement of cards. So for those people, they would have to either wait until the districts and the regional offices are in a position to do the replacement of cards. Failing which, if they really, really need to get the cards replaced before then or immediately, then it means they have to come to Accra. But I'm also learning that exercise too has been suspended in Accra. So for the moment, it has been suspended. Let's get on to our conversation, which has to do with the anesthetists taking a strike. We have Professor Kwesi Kusi, the head anesthesia and intensive care director at the Konvanoche Teaching Hospital, joining us on the line. Good morning to you, and a happy New Year to you, Prof. Hello.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm well. I trust you're doing well too.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm doing very well.
Yeah. All right. So tell us about this strike that you're having to embark on. What's the issue?
Well, I'm not the one embarking on a strike. I am working.
Okay.
It is the next anesthetists.
Okay.
Who are embarking on a strike.
Okay. And what's the issue?
What is the issue? Very funny, Israel. Very funny issue. They are saying that the Medical and Dental Council and the Ministry of Health are not recognizing them the way they should be recognized. This is what they are saying.
This has actually been a long-standing
issue. Are you familiar with the
Yes, there's some history to this, because there seems to be this rift between doctors who have specialized in anesthesia and the nurse anesthetists.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what it has come to.
Israel, this is a problem. Do you know the story in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 13, where it talks about a sower who went to sow, and then in the night the enemy sowed tares among what the sower sowed? At 857, there are stakeholders who came together to draft this act. Medical and Dental Council, Ministry of Health, Ghana Medical Association, all the stakeholders. Now, the reason why I'm quoting this parable is that they did the work, very beautiful work. And then when the acts came, the law came, there was an insertion that nobody knows where that insertion came from. So that's why I'm asking you whether you are familiar with the act. And it looks like Ghanaians, we don't read. And I feel very sad as a professor in anesthesia and seeing what is going on in our country and people are not addressing the issue. Okay? Israel, take time and go into the Act. The Act 857, at the section 27, it talks about the functions of the Medical and Dental Council. And that section 27 never mentions certified registered anesthetists. It's never mentioned there. It mentions doctors, dentists, and physician assistants. That was how the Act was made. Doctors, dentists, and physician assistants. So there are three categories that the Medical and Dental Council is supposed to regulate. Now the Act came. So from 27, you don't hear any name. 27, it talks about the functions of the Medical and Dental Council. There are 7 functions, among other things, to register doctors, dentists, and physician assistants, to regulate their practice. Certified registered anesthetist is not mentioned anywhere in the Act. 27. Now, when you come to 28, that is why I'm saying that an enemy planted some tests. If you come to 28, section 28, it talks about the governing body of the Medical and Dental Council. Section 28, then there's an insertion, certified registered anesthetist. So when the law came, Ministry of Health couldn't implement it. Medical and Dental Council couldn't implement it because they did not understand that insertion. Because Israel, I am a doctor, that's my basic qualification. And then I've done anesthesia. So I'm an anesthetist. So I am certified, I'm registered, I'm an anesthetist. So when this law came, the lawyer for the Ministry of Health at the time, under the minister, we asked the lawyer, he, as I sit here in theater now, Professor Akwesi and Chikusi, am I anesthetist? He says yes. Am I certified? He said yes. Am I registered? He said yes. So the question was, what is the difference between me and my other colleagues who are nurses, who don't want to be called nurses? And he said he doesn't know. So the law is nebulous and needs to be reviewed. Ask Mr. James Nwensagra, the president of the nurse anesthetist, that what certificate does he hold? He should show the whole world his certificate. I was once the principal of the nurse anesthetist training school. The certificate he holds, it's written boldly, National Diploma, Nurse Anesthesia. He should tell me.
Okay, so Prof, I know that
is right
Prof.
Nurse anesthesia.
All right.
Yes,
okay,
Israel.
Prof, we actually have James Nwensagra. He's the president of the Certified Anesthetist. He's joining us
I'm very happy he's on the line.
Yes, he's on the line. So one of the questions that Prof is asking is, why are you saying that you want the Ghana Medical and Dental Council to recognize you? It's one of the questions he's asking. And the other question he's asking is, what is there to show, or what certificate is there to show that, you know, as a nurse anesthetist, this is your qualification?
You should tell the whole world the certificate he holds.
All right.
I hold the certificate MBCHD. I hold diploma, West Africa College of Surgeons.
All right. We have
fellowship, West Africa.
We have James Nwensagra on the line again. Good morning to you, James. So I'm sure you heard Prof and what Prof has had to say. So yeah, you could actually start off by telling us why the issue, why you're embarking on the strike.
I want to. The issues that we are embarking on strike is an impasse between the certified registered anesthetist and the regulator.
All right.
There are many issues that are outlined, wrong destination, introduction of a purported scope of practice, among others. This has lingered on for some time now, from 2013 to date.
Okay.
All efforts to have the issue resolved.
And James, quickly, when you say the regulator, you mean the Ghana Medical and Dental Council?
Medical and Dental Council.
All right.
Okay. So the purported scope of practice that was introduced had a lot of issues that we have to deal with. And we raised concerns and we drew the attention of the regulator and the ministry. Somewhere along the line, there were certain issues that will limit my scope of practice. There are certain issues that will actually have an effect on the job that I'm going to do. So actually, we were expecting that those concerns that were raised to the ministry in line with the scope of practice would have been addressed. I must be honest with you, where we actually got to is not what was expected. But it looked like the ministry was, I don't want to say not adamant, but was not too proactive in trying to resolve the problem. And this brought about the wake-up call. In the wake-up call, we're expecting the issue to have been resolved. We had an agreement the issue should have been resolved by 6th of December 2021. We have written consent, National Labour Commission, and all those things. I want to believe that we follow due process to where we are today. In an annual general meeting held in Kumasi, members had raised concerns in the General Assembly, issued a communique directing the ministry, raising their legitimate concerns. They were expecting the minister to respond or all the members to come to order for us to have an amicable solution to the problem. That did not happen. And among them, it was indicated that the way the regulator is treating members, it is not fair. And if the ministry doesn't take dramatic actions quickly, members were not going to renew their retention with medical and dental camp. And by law, medical and dental or the regulator by 31st December of every year, preceding year, if you haven't renewed your retention, it means that by law you cannot practice as a service provider. So the thing continued until the last stage where we were trying to make a reminder, and National Labour Commission had directed that the minister should resolve the matter within 3 days as essential service provider. Yes, the ministry were expecting to have responded. The ministry did not respond, and Medical and Dental Council gave us another directive saying that after 31st midnight, we will not be able to provide because it's against the law. We're simply trying to comply with the directive of Medical and Dental Council, and that has brought to the service to a halt.
So
if
James,
different things altogether, but that is not it. We should not distort the fact.
James, let me just recap all that you said. From what you've said, essentially, you're deciding that you're withdrawing your services because by law, the Medical and Dental Council, according to their law, would not recognize you or your group, essentially.
Yes, as an individual to provide a service. And as a group, we have to take up the action as a union to make sure that these things are addressed.
Okay. So if the Ghana Medical and Dental Council would resolve whatever issues and recognize you, you're happy to be back at work?
There's nothing wrong with that. I want to state this time that we have a prolonged meeting throughout the whole day at the ministry, at the conference room, meet up with stakeholders from Ghana Health Service, Ministry of Health, the teaching hospitals, CHART, and other stakeholders. I'll put it on record that we have come to a consensus.
All right.
And a committee has been set to oversee all the restorations, including Medical and Dental Council. And then from there onwards, that will give us the opportunity to return to work, and then we would have the other issue down. The technical committee will deal with it, or a task force will now deal with it. And we have given ourselves timeline within 6 months, which we have been able to resolve our differences.
All right.
Where we are now, we are in a meeting, and then we are about to make a press release. So I want to assure Ghanaians that amicable, we have come to consensus now, and then we will resume work any moment from now.
Okay, that is good to hear. So essentially, your strike is virtually over.
We shall issue a press statement to that effect.
All right. Thank you very much, James Wantagra, the president of the Certified Anesthetists. Now, Prof, so essentially, the certified anesthetists, they don't have an issue with doctors as we speak. Hello, Prof.
Tell us the certificate he's holding.
No, okay.
And I also want you to ask him, per the law that he's referring to, what is the definition of certified registered anesthetist as per the law? Ask him what is the definition that the law gives.
Prof, at this point, is it really necessary if they've resolved whatever issues they have and they say they're almost resuming?
You see, it can never be resolved until the law is amended. The law is nebulous. The people who framed that law have not done as good as a nation. Israel, I'm doing some write-up. I'll send it to you. And when you read, you understand what I'm talking about. And I'm also telling James that he's lying to the whole world. His members have all registered with the Medical and Dental Council as we speak. Because I work with them. I spoke with them. They understood the danger of what they were doing. So they all registered. Go to the private hospitals. They are working in the private hospitals. So if they tell the whole world that they are not registered by the Medical and Dental Council, it's a lie, a complete lie. Go and ask the registrar of the Ghana Medical and Dental Council. They have all registered. And they are working in the private hospitals. I'm telling you, Israel. This country, I don't know. So I'm a lecturer. I taught them. The certificate they hold is higher national diploma, nurse anesthesia. Some of them, I taught them at KNUST. The certificate they hold is physician assistant anesthesia, PSC. I taught them at KNUST. So that they are trying to say is all, they are just throwing dust into the eyes of the public. He should tell us the certificate that he holds, and then we can take it up from there. If you want to be a doctor, the medical schools are opened. Because I am a certified registered anesthetist, as Professor Nchukwusi, I am a certified registered anesthetist. The law says that certified registered anesthetist is a practitioner under this part other than the anesthetist who administers anesthesia. This is why I'm saying that it's nebulous. Anybody who administers anesthesia is certified registered anesthetist. And the distinction is there. You are either a nurse or a doctor. Period.
All right.
There's no middle way.
All right.
You are either a nurse or a doctor. All of them are nurses. Why are you not proud of your profession? I'm a proud doctor who's an anesthetist.
But
and
Prof,
you should be proud.
Okay, Prof, at least we should be happy that they say they're calling off the strike and they're back at work.
Oh, this strike was not going to get anywhere, Israel. They have no case.
All right.
I'm telling you.
All right.
They have no case. Just that Ghanaians don't read. People should go back and read the Act 857.
All right. Thank you very much.
It needs to be amended.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'm hoping the authorities that would need to do that work, the amendments and resolve whatever issues they are, they would go ahead and do that. But thank you very much, Professor Akwesi Nchukwusi, for joining us for the conversation. Still on the AM show, we have one final thing to share with you, which has to do with a recap of the memorial service which was held for Elvis Koku Kwashi, the late Elvis Koku Kwashi, who was the general manager for the Joy brand here at Multimedia. We held that memorial service yesterday at the car park. It's right next to the studio. We had lots of people show up. It was essentially a reunion. I had several of the former colleagues who had left. They came back to join us for this memorial service, and we have recapped it nicely for those of you who missed it.
Described as selfless, passionate and hardworking, friends, family, colleagues and other well-wishers joined the memorial for Elvis Koku Kwashi, who passed away last week. Chief Human Resource Manager of the Multimedia Group, Nana Elegba, praised Elvis for investing in the lives of everyone who knew him.
He did not limit himself only to shaping the professional lives of his team members and other colleagues. He also took a keen interest in the personal lives and would also always go out of his way to offer advice, to offer counseling, prayer support, and even financial support on countless occasions. There is virtually no life that Elvis did not touch in the office. So truth be told, Elvis's passing is a huge blow and a devastating loss for us. We are simply in pain, pain that refuses to go away. Efo Koku, no matter what tomorrow brings, we will uphold your legacy by continuing to embrace professionalism, hard work, courage, tenacity, compassion, and selflessness, just the way you would have.
Perhaps one phrase everyone in the newsroom will remember about the real boss was his constant mention of, "You will miss me." And when Kweku Usupepra mounted the stage, he couldn't help but re-echo those words.
You told us that we will miss you. You took a bow when the applause was the loudest, owing to your own words that maybe it's time to quit. And you said it many times. So you decided to quit on us. Efo Koku, you have fought a good fight. You are the best amongst many. You are the compass of our newsroom. Your kind is rare, and we love you. Sleep well.
Family of Elvis acknowledged his death is a big blow, but they urged everyone to also live a life worthy of emulation, just as Elvis did.
It's only one word that I want to leave everybody here. That is in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 10. The Bible says, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might, for there is no work, no understanding, no knowledge, no scheme of work in the grave where you are going. It means therefore that all of us seated here, one day we shall go that way. But what are we doing? So whatever we are doing here today, we have to do it to the glory of the Most High God. So when that day, when the call that came to Elvis comes to us as well, we shall be found going to the bosom of the Most High God.
Former colleague of Elvis, now Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, highlighted the exemplary legacy that Elvis has left, which must be emulated by all.
Elvis did not start off as a boss. Around 2007, 2009, we shared a common boss, Matilda Santesidu, Mr. Kwesi Chum, who is here, and Mr. Ken Ashigbe, who is now at the telecoms chamber. But I think what has worked for Elvis over the years, which we all must take away, is the value system which he kept faith with and which he has passed on to the younger generation. Our best testimony will not be the tears or the pain or the words, but to live that value system so that future generations can also pick it from us.
This was reiterated by the Church of Pentecost, where he fellowshipped.
He taught us to be crazy about the things of God. We jump in church, we shout in church, and we dance to the glory of God, because he will tell us that we don't have any other place to go to. This is where we can jump. This is where we can praise God. When you heard the master's call, you had to answer. But we as mortal men understood not. We know you are having fun, you are shouting in heaven, you are jumping. We know that you are indeed having fun. Heaven needs such energetic people, God-fearing, strong man, more than we do. Rest well, Captain. Rest well, Edda Elvis.
The death of Elvis has still not been accepted by many who live in denial and cannot comprehend why he should leave the land of the living. Pastor Ato Aqua attempted to answer some of these questions lingering in the minds of many.
The real you lives in this body, and it's a tent that one day, we'll all check out of. That's exactly what has happened in the case of our brother in the case of our friend, our boss, Elvis. Elvis, as far as I'm concerned, dear friends, is not dead. He only changed location. He changed his housing. He checked out of an earthly body, which is temporary anyway. And so on this note, I want to encourage us. It's okay to cry. It's okay to ask all the questions you want to ask. But like David did, let us encourage ourselves in the Lord.
That was topped up with a prayer for the staff of multimedia and family of Elvis.
At this juncture, I lift each and every family member. Special mention to God of the mother, that you by your grace and by your mercies shall hold them, shall comfort them, shall wipe away their tears. Glorious King, I pray that may the departure of God of our brother, our son, our father, our uncle, Lord, bring unity and strength and love among family. But we continue to pray and we bring his colleagues, the workers, into your hand. There is a big vacuum that has been created. But we know you can make it at your own point in time. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ that you shall raise more good people like Elvis who will fill the vacuum. That is, the multimedia shall continue to exude the sweet fragrance of heaven even among the nation.
Fare thee well, Elvis Koku Kwashi, the real boss.
Right, so yes, we brought you that recap of the memorial service for Elvis Kwashi, and we would share with you when it gets to the burial service and all of the funeral itself, which has been slated for next month. We'll bring you further details. But before we wrap up the show, I want to wish a happy 32nd marriage anniversary to Professors John and Margaret Japong of University of Health and Allied Sciences. So these are two professors who are married, and they're both at University of Health and Allied Sciences. I wish you the very best, and your marriage has been blessed already. 32 years. I'm wishing another 20 years, 30, 32 years. And for you, I want us to play the song by Adom by Dana Hamilton. Enjoy this. And that's how we wrap up the show for today. We'll be back with you with another show tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.